On this board, we're talking about 15 steps to an excellent credit score. Let's jump right in. Step number 1 is print your credit report. Print your credit report. Easy way to print your credit report is to go on annualcreditreport.com. That is the only website that is officially endorsed by the federal government, right? And you are entitled to 1 free copy of your credit report every year. And when I say 1 free copy, I mean 1 free copy from each of the 3 major credit bureaus: Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. Tyra, is that correct? They
that is
on annualcreditreport.com and get all 3?
Yes, they can, once a year for free. Anything other than that, they will have to pay for it.
Excellent, excellent. So guys, go on there, get your free credit report, all right, from each of the 3 major credit unions, credit bureaus, I'm sorry, each of the 3 major credit bureaus. And then that's step 1, step 1. So you go to www.annualcreditreport.com, all right? Step 1, print your credit report. Step 2, check for errors. Check for errors. Read through each of those credit reports and check for any type of error, you know? Tyra, what are some errors that they'll be looking for as they go through their credit reports?
Different name variations, misspelling of names, incorrect addresses, old addresses, former employers. You want to make sure your social security number is correct. Even old telephone numbers. Yeah, these are anything to do with your personal information. You start there with the personal, and then of course from there you want to check the accounts. Make sure that these are accounts that you have applied for in the past. If they are, I mean, what you agreed to with that particular creditor, is that the agreement? And it can go way deeper than that, and that's a conversation for the actual consumer and their credit specialist. But that's generally, those are the things you're looking for. Have you ever had an agreement with this particular company? And if it's a collection agency, the original creditor, is that creditor correct? Because you can get errors on your credit report, just as simple as because you and someone else lived in the same house, and someone else that lived in the house with you, this is their bill. But because you lived in the same house, it got on your credit report. Another big thing is with fathers and juniors, same name, but junior and senior was somehow left off and is on a mixed match. Also twins, triplets. They basically have the same social security number. The only thing is different is the last digit. So those are very common errors when it comes to credit reports. And those are just a few, but those are the most common.
Excellent, excellent. So yes, step number 2 is to check for errors. Check for errors. Step number 3, make a list of all negative items. All negative items. When I say negative items, you're looking for, any type of late payments, collections, charge-offs, high utilization, repos, delinquencies, bankruptcies, foreclosures. Go through those credit reports and make a list of all of the negative items, right? Now you can either have a notebook and just write them down, make a list in a notebook, or if you're a little bit more high tech, you can use a spreadsheet, but make a list of all of those negative items, So that was step number 3. Step number 4 is send round 1 dispute letters. Send round 1 dispute letters. And basically in round 1, you are asking the credit bureaus to investigate the accounts in order to verify that the information is accurate. Because under FACRA, right, under the FCRA, the Fair Credit Reporting Act, under FACRA, anything on your credit report that is inaccurate or unverifiable must be removed, right? So round 1 is send the dispute letters to the credit bureaus, asking them to investigate the accounts in order to verify that the information is accurate. Tyra, how do you feel about that, round 1?
Oh, yeah, you're 100% correct. What also comes with the round one of dispute letters is basically you're asking the debtors who say you owe them, you're asking them about the validity
Mhm.
of these actual accounts that are on the credit report. And yes, according to the Fair Credit Reporting Act, we can dispute anything negative. It doesn't matter what it is.
Mhm.
It can be something as serious as bankruptcy to something as small as inquiries. But yes, if it's negative, we are, according to Congress, allowed to dispute it. But yes, you are 100% correct, Lance. Thank you.
Now, I hear different credit specialists saying different things about how to mail the dispute letter, right? I'm thinking we should always mail it through certified mail because that way we have a verifiable record of the date that we mailed it out, right? Because they have a certain time period to respond to us. And so I'm thinking for documentation purposes, it's always good to use certified mail. But some people say you don't have to use certified mail. What is your opinion about that, Tyra?
Yes, it's actually not mandatory to send it certified. However, I always recommend that you do, because just as you say, we need to hold the credit reporting agencies close to the fire, because they can easily say, no, we did not receive your dispute letters. And what that does is basically put you about a month and a half, 2 months behind in your dispute process, because they say they never got it. But if they are certified, as you stated, is holding them accountable, because somebody has to sign for that.
Yes.
So, and then that also can place them in a spot of further liability if
Mm.
they were accepted and signed for and nothing happened. Like there's no type of response back to the consumer.
Mhm.
From in that time frame, they have 45 days to answer the consumers back, and then there could be further liability because of that. So, and that's another rabbit hole. But yes, always recommend spend the extra $3 for these dispute letters. That's all it is per letter. That's all it is.
Yeah, yeah. Now I heard that because of the COVID pandemic, that the credit bureaus were given an extended time frame of up to 60 days. Did you hear anything about that at all?
um,
Days because
okay.
of COVID?
So
Okay.
that's a gray area.
Okay.
Because as far as that I'm aware, it's still the 45-day window, but can it take up to 60 days? Yes, I have seen it.
Okay.
Even with going through the dispute process myself.
Gotcha. Okay. Now,
Yeah.
also I heard that it was really 30 days, but that the timer doesn't start until they actually receive it. So then I guess we're giving ourselves 40, so we're thinking about it in terms of 45 days because we're thinking that the timer doesn't start until they actually receive it, right? Is that the thought or
Right. Yeah, because you got to think about mailing time.
right,
Um, and then you do have to take in consideration that we are in the pandemic,
right.
and the fact that there was times when people weren't even receiving their mail because of it.
That's
So yeah, it's more so once you mail it out, you have proof of the date that it was sent. That's when the clock starts. And give it a give and take a couple of few business days, and these business days for the mail to
yeah.
go. But yeah, I would say I would be safe. I would always stick with for that 45-day time period.
I see. Excellent. So now, okay, so great. And so we send out round one dispute letters, and then we wait for the response, right? And then when we get the response, right, if they did not remove all items, then we proceed to round two dispute letters. Now, in round two, we are asking the credit bureaus for like more evidence of their investigation, right? Because in round one, we're asking them to investigate, right? And then in round two, if they still haven't, removed all the negative items, we're asking them in round two to provide us evidence of their investigation. So we want, the credit bureaus to provide us with the names and the business addresses of each individual with whom they verified the information, right? So is that your understanding of round two?
Well, so each round is an investigation,
Okay,
period.
gotcha.
Um,
True.
no matter how many times it gets investigated, because what we are asking them, what we are requesting is for them to verify that it is 100% accurate. And what that means is every piece of me, my information, if I'm doing this dispute process, that's attached to this actual balance or bill you say that I owe you, that is 100% accurate. And that's why it's also very, very important that my name is spelled correctly, because I can have a debt. Let me tell you, when I was in college, my first credit card, instead of having a T, it was a C. So let's say if I did not pay that, it went to collections, blah, blah, blah. If I disputed that, it's on my driver's license, it says Tyra, blah, 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 not Syra, blah, blah, blah. Because of that, that item would have had, by law, would have to come off my credit report. So everything that's tied to that particular debt has to be 100% accurate. And that's why people have a lot of success with getting items removed off their credit report, because a good 75% of the time, 100% of my information is not 100% accurately tied to that debt.
Right.
Everything has to be, all the dots,
Yes.
all the T's have to be crossed, all the I's have to be dotted. Yes.
And in addition, the credit bureaus have to provide us with the supporting documentation, right, of their investigations, right?
Yep. And a lot of times they don't have it, because what happens is the original creditor, they just give a bunch of information to the credit bureaus, and we call them credit bureaus. They are not bureaus because they're not government entities. They are actual just for-profit billion-dollar companies who buy debt and make a whole lot more money off the debt that they are, because they purchase it for a fraction of what the person actually owes. And then they go after this person, tag on more fees, and get money from the consumer. So yes, everything must be 100% accurate that's tied. And a lot of times what happens, because they're just shoveling out so much information to these companies, that's where the inaccuracies come in.
Excellent, excellent. And then step six is, if they still have not removed all items, then consider sending round 3 factual disputes. And so in round 3, we're looking for any type of discrepancy in our credit reports, right? The one from Experian, Equifax, TransUnion. We're looking for any type of discrepancies. So going back to what you were saying, Tyra, about any misspelling of names and or any type of wrong account numbers, right? Anything like that would be like a discrepancy. Is that your understanding?
100% correct. But technically, each round of dispute letters, we're still checking for discrepancies. The wording may change on the dispute letters, depending on what round you're in. But at the end of the day, we still are checking for, it's still an investigation that you can prove 100% that this is my debt.
Excellent. So now, step number 7, if they still have not removed all items, proceed to sending the next round, I call it round 4, direct to creditor. So up until now, we've been going back and forth with the credit bureaus. But now, we're going to start to go back and forth with the actual creditors. Right now, when I say actual creditors, I mean either the original creditor, or if that original creditor sold off the account to a collection agency, then we're going to go back and forth with that collection agency. And so in this round, we're asking the actual debt collector, whether it's the original creditor or the collection agency, we are asking the actual debt collector for the details and documentation that verifies that the debt is ours. Is that your understanding, Tyra?
Well, so when it comes to going directly to the original creditor, you can kind of do that at any time.
True. But I did hear though that, you should first try to work it out with the credit bureaus, right? And then if that seems like it's not working out, then go to the original. Is that something you heard or?
I don't.
Okay.
All right. So from my understanding and what I've seen in the field, it is really not it's not really as far as the sequence go.
Oh, okay.
I can go directly to a creditor and say, hey, I'll give you this money like using a settlement letter.
True, you could do a
I'll
settlement.
pay out, like, let's say if I owe $20,000 and I say, hey, I got 5,000 for you. Are you willing to accept this? I'm doing this in writing.
Right.
And not only am I doing this in writing, I'm asking them also to take the negativity associated with this debt off of my credit report as well.
True.
So
Okay. I think the reason why some people say first start with the credit bureaus because we're starting with like what's on the credit report and maybe kind of cleaning up any type of like typos and stuff, right? Which you have to do with the actual credit bureaus. And then we move on to some of the, but also too, it's like if some stuff is inaccurate, then the credit bureaus might be able to take it off of the credit report even before we get to the stage of talking to the actual creditor, you know? Or
definitely. But yeah, some people, if that's how they choose to do it, let's go through the credit agencies first,
okay.
and then go back to the original credit. Yeah, it can be done, but it could kind of be done.
Oh,
You can go to the creditors too.
okay.
Especially when it comes to things like late payments as well.
Right.
When you ask for forgiveness or goodwill, especially in this pandemic.
Right.
I lost my job. I was out for a couple of months. Would you basically be so kind to
Right.
take these late payments off? But yes, totally. That sequence is fine. Yeah.
Gotcha. So step 8 continues in rounds of dispute letters. Step 9 gets into, Tyra, what you were starting to mention about, so depending on the responses, we got to figure out what we want to do in terms of, we can ask for a goodwill adjustment and or negotiate settlements in exchange for their written agreement to remove items and or ask for goodwill deletion and or negotiate a pay for delete.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So now with these things, we have to be careful though how we do this though, right? Because like, for example, if we negotiate a settlement, we have to make sure that we get it in writing. We have to make sure that they put it in writing, and we have to make sure that they not only put it in writing that they're agreeing to the settlement, but also that they are agreeing to remove the item from our credit report. Because technically, even if we pay off a collection account, whether we pay the full amount or we pay a reduced settled amount, right? Even if it comes out to be zero, right? They can still report the collection accounts for like up to 7 years, even if we pay it off. So just paying off a collection doesn't mean that it's going to be removed from your credit report. It's still going to stay on there unless you get them to agree in writing to remove the account from your credit report. And really what I've learned is that, whether you have a zero balance collection account, what I'm saying? So meaning whether you have a paid collection or whether it's unpaid, it's still going to impact your credit report negatively in the same way, because the credit bureaus, they don't look at the dollar amount. They just look at the fact that you have an account that is in collections. Is that right?
That is correct.
Okay. So we have to make sure we get them to take it off of. Now I heard though that these days it's hard to get them to take it off your credit report, especially if you're not paying the full amount. Have you heard anything about that?
Oh yeah, that's 100% correct. Of course, they don't want to give you any leniency when it comes to that type of thing. You're in a boxing match. Sometimes it's like fighting Floyd Mayweather. Like as we know, Floyd. No, I'm not gonna say Floyd Mayweather because he's undefeated. But we know it was like fighting Tyson or something. Like he was beating everybody, but then one day, he came to his. So yeah, they of course they don't want to do it. So they're gonna fight you tooth and nail. It's just that when you get those type of things happen where they don't want to agree to that, I would ask for a supervisor.
Wow.
Always remember that those lines are recorded.
Right.
So in the event that someone tries, we know nothing about that, we have no knowledge of that, you can also request the transcript from the compliance department. And these are especially important if they try to sue you and take you to court.
Wow. Okay. Good point. Very good point. Good point. Wow. All right. So then step 10, keep in mind, oh, okay. So step 10 just kind of confirmed what we were talking about. Keep in mind that paying off a collection account does not change your credit score unless you get them to agree in writing to remove the collection from your credit report. Step
Yes,
11. Mm-hmm.
because we can sue them as well. That's
Oh,
all right.
right, right.
People
Step
need to know that.
Right. Oh, that's right. So you definitely want to maintain, keep all your documentation organized. Right, right, right.
Mm-hmm.
Step 11, when dealing with the credit bureaus, always send a copy of your ID with each envelope and make sure your ID matches the return address on your envelope. But when dealing with the actual creditors or the collection agencies, never send a copy of your ID. Also, never include your signature because credit collection agencies and these collection agencies have a reputation of being unethical, right? And so you don't want to give them a copy of your ID. You don't want to give them a copy of your signature because they are known to do unethical things. Tyra, have you experienced or heard about these things?
I can't. The part about no ID and no signature, I can't concur with that
Oh,
because the fact that you have to say you are who you say you are,
wow.
when it comes to the dispute process, you need identifying documentation. You need at least two. Even if your driver's license or state ID does not match where you live at the time, you still need some type of proof of residence.
Right,
We know ID theft is rampant,
right.
biggest crime in the country, but you have to prove you are who you saying you are,
Okay.
and that this is your address as well.
Okay.
You live there.
So I
So
know
I can't.
that in
Yeah.
terms of the credit bureaus, right? And now you're gonna
Mm-hmm.
heard that when you're sending your ID to the credit bureaus, if your ID doesn't match like your envelope, then you can send your ID along with like a bill, like a
Yes.
utility bill. Okay,
Correct.
that matches.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's when dealing with the credit bureaus. But it's just that I guess I've heard some things about dealing with collection agencies where, like, I've heard that like there was a collection agency that even like took someone's copy of their signature and placed it on a different document or something, like it's like crazy stuff like that. But then what you're saying makes sense though, that we have to still validate our identity with the collection agency though, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder
Yes.
how we can work around, because it's like, you know in general we can't trust the collection agency, but at the same time we do need to be able to verify our identity with them.
Yes. That's just like I was saying with my first credit card. They spelt my name with a C. So let's say if I wanted to dispute that, I have to prove that my first letter is a T, not a C.
Mm.
So yeah. So you need the identification. And of course, everybody, well, I can say everybody, but social security cards or I-10 card, your driver's license, state ID, or some type of utility bill, something like that. Yep.
Okay, all right. So I guess, I mean, for our audience though, definitely with the credit bureaus, but with the collection agencies, that's something that they got to be very careful of, right? Because all that. But I guess that's where attorneys would get involved and can figure out like how exactly to do that, whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
If it's going that far, then that's when you got to get the law. Well,
Yeah.
we already are involved in the law, but yeah, that's when you would want to, yeah, attorneys. Oh, yes.
Yeah, you definitely want to use professional help. And by the way, I guess this is a good time to even make this announcement that this video is just for educational purposes. Please do not consider this to be any type of legal or accounting advice. And definitely really consult your attorney or CPA or whatever. But this is just educational purposes only. Also, at the end, if you do want to get professional credit repair help, Tyra is going to give us her contact information. But basically, what we're doing here is just giving you ideas. We're like giving you an outline on how to do this yourself, right? Because a lot of you, you just have a few things you need to clean up, and for a lot of you, you guys can do it yourself. But for those of you that are in some situations where it's a little bit more complex, then you definitely want to consider getting some professional credit repair help, and so I just want to make that clear to everyone. So step number 12, aim to keep your credit utilization under 10%, right? If possible, become an authorized user on a credit card of a family member whom you trust. Tyra, how do you feel about that tip?
Yes, there's a big myth out here that we should keep our credit cards at 30%. That is 100% incorrect. 30% will keep your credit score fair. But if you want your credit to be good to excellent, rule of thumb, keep them between 1 and 9%.
Mhm.
Yes.
Excellent. Now, with this authorized user thing, I've heard different things about it. Now, definitely, if it's a family member you trust, right, and somebody who has good credit, someone that's paying their bills on time, and has a high credit limit, then that can really be a huge blessing in helping you to increase your credit score, right? Becoming an authorized user, right, of a family member. I've heard though that over the years they've kind of cracked down on people that are trying to do it with non-family members. Have you heard anything about that?
Correct. You would want to do it with an immediate family member, meaning like a spouse or a sibling, somebody who's going to be your spouse, something like that. And yes, they have cracked down because there are people out here that make a lot of money putting authorized users on an account. Then that person get the credit score they need, because that can catapult somebody's credit score hundreds of points in a short period of time. So what they would do is they'll become an authorized user, their credit score will shoot up, they go to the bank or wherever, get whatever it is they need, and once they have what they need, they get off of that account and their credit score goes back down. So that's why you do have to be careful with being an authorized user. Even in You see this a lot in divorces as well. There could be a spouse, or you might have like a stay-at-home mom, never really worked, husband took care of everything. She's on his credit card. She has great credit and everything. Divorce happens. He takes her off of all the credit cards. Now she's back to a 400 credit score from a 700. Happens all the time. So, and my advice to that is also build your own profile, period. It's fine to be a family member's or a close family member's authorized user. I see nothing wrong with that.
Okay.
But build your own, have your plan B always, because we're not wishing for the worst, but just in case the worst does happen, you can back yourself up and take care of yourself.
Good point. Good point. Awesome. 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 Step number, aim to never make late payments again, right? Because our payment history is the most influential factor to our credit score, right? It's just amazing how just one late payment can really negatively impact our credit score. So you definitely want to make sure that you aim to never make late payments. I mean, if you see that you might not have the funds to make a payment on time, try to reach out to friends and family to make sure that you're not late. Also, set up auto pay, right? Also, check your accounts, track your accounts on at least a weekly basis. I hear stories about people that just forgot about certain bills and wasn't really checking the mail or whatever, and just wasn't aware that they were missing payments, and so you definitely want to, keep track of all of your accounts, track them on at least a weekly basis to make sure that you're paying on time, because payment history is one of the most important, where it makes up 35% of your credit score is based on payment history. Tyra, how do you feel about that point?
Oh yeah, you are absolutely correct. 35% of our credit scorings when it comes to that part of the algorithm
Mhm.
is the biggest chunk, and what's most important is the past 24 months, of course.
Mhm.
And yes, even if you're just paying the minimum, you've covered yourself,
Mhm.
especially when it comes to credit cards. The good thing is, even if you do miss a payment, if you have a good relationship and good history with that particular, creditor, no matter who it is, a lot of times if you just call them up and say, hey, something came out of my account, or I just forgot, they will forgive it.
Yes, yes,
They
yes.
will. If you got good history with them, they will forgive it. So it's just, just a little bit of communication
Mhm.
as well. And then also just if y'all really want to know how much even one late payment can hurt you, one late payment takes away three good payments. It takes 9 months to recover from one late payment. And it can drop your score dramatically. Just one late payment.
Wow, wow, that's deep.
So definitely just let auto pay, and if you can't pay more than the minimum, just pay the minimum. At least you're covered.
Excellent points. Excellent points. Number step 14, for those who have no credit, start building credit, right? And there's different ways to build credit. One we talked about becoming an authorized user, right? On a credit card of a immediate family member, right? Who has good credit, someone you trust. That there is a very powerful way to build credit. Also, you can start by getting a secured credit card and then later transition to a regular credit card. Tyra, what are your thoughts about that?
Yes, there are multiple ways to build credit. As you stated, a secure credit card. You can go with your bank. Credit unions are good. There are secure cards out here that there's no minimum payment to start
Mm,
as well.
mm,
So yeah, it's a lot. It's so much information out here. There's credit building loans that
mm,
are excellent with building credit. Yeah, and authorized use. Yep, that's great. There's also rental reporting services.
mm.
Say if you really don't have much credit, but you've been paying rent or whatever, you can check that out as well. So yeah, there's multiple ways to do it.
Mhm. Excellent, excellent. Step number 15. The final step is this. Keep in mind, all throughout this whole process, right? Keep in mind that achieving an excellent credit score is not an overnight process. It takes time. So, but it takes time, but if you stay patient and consistent, it will happen for you. Tyra, how do you feel about that? People that, are feeling like overwhelmed and impatient about the process, How do you,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, most people are very emotional about this process, understandably, but it does take time.
Mhm.
One thing we do have to say to people now, listen, you didn't mess up your credit in 30 to 60 days. It's not going to fix itself in 30 to 60 days as well. So, and then there's a lot of factors into it. Not only should you be getting these negative items removed, if that's part of your issue, you need to feed back into your credit as well. Just like with the things that we were just speaking about, like the secure card, things of that nature. Those are called trade lines. So you have to add back positively back in your credit. Just when you are going through the restoration process, and having negative items removed is not an overnight microwavable process. You do have to be patient. You do have to do your due diligence when it comes to this process. Yes. And whenever you need to seek the help of a professional, please do so. And that doesn't necessarily mean getting with a service that's going to help you fix your credit. No, if you're doing things yourself, I mean, hey, you can call someone up and just ask for some advice. What's the best way to go about this? Given my situation, because credit is also very subjective. There's a lot of variables and variances when it comes to the makeup of your credit.
Mm.
Okay, I tell people your credit report, your credit profile is as unique to you as your fingerprint. Lance, you and I can be neighbors. We've done the same thing. We've got had the same credit cards. We done pretty much the same thing. But because you are Lance Smith and I'm Tyra Jacklene, it could take me a year to get my credit fixed, and it could take you 6 months.
Wow, 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 wow. That's deep. That's so deep. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes, yes. And I'm a
Mhm.
loan officer. And as a loan officer, I realized that a lot of people cannot qualify for a home loan because of their credit. And so I'm passionate about helping people build and maintain an excellent credit score so that they can receive all of the advantages and options that come with having an excellent credit score, you know, including being able to qualify for the best terms and interest rates when they apply for a mortgage. And so I have a private Facebook group. It's called Friends of Loan Officer Lance Claysmile Smith. And I encourage you, if you have a credit score that is under 760, I encourage you to reach out to me. I encourage you to join my private Facebook group because we're all about sharing insights and encouragement to help you to improve your life. And one of those things is about your credit score. You know, my goal is that every single person in my sphere of influence will have a credit score that is at least 760, at least 760. So feel free to reach out to me. Also, you know, now all of this information, all this education is free, right? Facebook group, these YouTube videos, everything is free. And I make it a point not to try to sell anything and not to try to pressure anyone to use any services, right? Make that a point. And here's the thing though, is that if you want to do this by yourself, you know, the information is out here, right? I mean, this is just some general information pretty much, but there's information for you to learn and study and do this by yourself, right? And so that is an option. Also though, for those of you who need professional help with this stuff, I do want to give you information about how to find professional help. So that's why I bring on professionals onto my YouTube videos like Tyra. And so I want to give Tyra an opportunity to share with everyone how to contact her if you want to get professional help. But again, I want to make it clear, I'm not, doing any type of sales pitch. I'm not, pressuring anyone. I just want to make sure that for those of you who do not want to do this by yourself, if you do not want to put in the time and effort and energy into doing this by yourself, and if you prefer to hire someone, then I want you to know that there are options. And by the way, I always recommend that people research at least 3 different vendors before making any type of purchase. Research at least 3 different vendors. Tyra, can you share with us a little bit about yourself and your company and how people can contact you if they want professional help?
Sure. Number one, let me say I appreciate you, Lance, so much for having the heart that you do to help assist and educate people properly, because this is just one factor, one piece of a big spectrum called financial literacy. And even with just what we went over today, we can save somebody hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yes.
And this is what many people do not realize. A lot of people don't realize how important that 3-digit number is until, they're older. And I'll just say it like that. But it's never too late. And like I speak with people all the time that say, I'm so embarrassed, I'm ashamed. And I say, listen, bad things happen to good people. It's okay. Do not be ashamed about where you were. Be happy that you're doing something about it, and that's what's important. So I wanted to say that. I want to get that back to you first, Lance. Thank you very much. Also, thank you for allowing me to have this discussion, this educational discussion with you. Number 2, and number 3, as a credit consultant, I represent financial literacy, but restoring credit is just our flagship product. We do many things because the one big thing that I do as a credit consultant and educator, what is the use of taking negative items off of your credit report if you don't understand what behaviors caused you bad credit in the first place? And how to not go back to those behaviors that got you bad credit in the first place. And that's where financial literacy comes in. That's where someone like myself comes in as well. So in the event that someone does need assistance, or even if they just want some advice, like I said, I'm a consultant and I do free consultations every day. No matter if someone signs up with me or not, because I am here first and foremost to educate and help people. Period. So if someone does need that help, that assistance, that information, that education, they can contact me by texting credit to 844-243-4901. That is a toll-free number as well.
Excellent, excellent, excellent.
So
Awesome.
they can give me a call, but the better response will be from texting.
Excellent.
But
Excellent.
it is toll free.
Excellent. Awesome. Awesome. Well, I appreciate you, Tyra, for coming on. This is great. And so, guys, yeah, as we said, these are, like a general outline, right? And you can really do this yourself. You can build and maintain an excellent credit score yourself. But if you do feel like you want professional help, then definitely reach out. Reach out. I encourage you to research at least 3 different vendors, right, before you make your choice. But reach out, and hey, start with Tyra. Again, the number is 844-243-4901, and send a text and just text the word credit to that number. All right, guys. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time on the next episode. All right, thanks, Tyra. I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, Lance. Thank you so much for having me.
My pleasure.